Hello everybody, it is Monday afternoon. Now I normally start vlogs in the morning and I'm so exhausted, so I think it would be better just for the vlog itself, for the channel itself, if I keep up my energy instead of being groggy and so sleepy. Anyways, I am weird schedule this week. Along with my son's football, my kids have testing, and so I had to take my son to school, pick him up, and then drop him off again. So I'm not going home and dealing with the traffic. Anyways, today's topic, if you're hearing my slippers, it's hearing some squishing sounds, it's my slippers. I'm gonna stop for a second here. So I'm gonna put a screenshot from LinkedIn, and this screenshot is from one of the Facebook groups I manage, which is the RHIT and RHIA exam support group. And the issue is taking the whatever Ahima exam, any of the Ahima exam, which includes the RHIT, the RHIA, CCS, and probably the CDIP, and I think also the CHDA if they still offer it. One of the things that had happened is that through the testing, with the testing, they removed flagging. And let me get over here. Let's do this. All right, that's better. So I'm going to actually read the post. And it said, I've seen people asking about returning to questions on the RHIT and RHIA exams. I contacted Ahima on this, and this was their response. Questions cannot be flagged for review during the exam. All questions must be answered at the first encounter. We hope you find this information helpful. Now, first off, I don't understand why that's not allowed anymore. Why this was discontinued. Was this an Ahima decision? Was this a Pearson VUE decision, which is the testing site for those that are preparing for their exam? I don't understand that. Because the thing is that when I took my CDIP exam back in 2015, I was allowed to do that. You know, when you go through the exam, which is 180 questions, you know, one of the first things that I say is answer the questions you don't know, pass the questions you don't know. Now, this changed everything. It forces you to answer the questions as you see it without flagging it. And so if you see the question, you have to answer it, which totally does not make sense to me. Now, in the professional world, you are able to take on situations and problems and go back to them and answer them again. You know, you're not going to make a quick decision on a problem so that way you can fix it. This should not be applied to the exam process. If you feel that you need to answer the question but you don't have the full answer, then you need to go back and answer it again. So the flagging process is totally warranted. If you can flag it, then you can go back to it. Now, the problem is that I don't see why this is happening. Now, if you followed in my podcast, I've talked about how with the CDIP exam, they actually removed an experience requirement from the CDIP exam. Before, they used to require that test takers for the CDIP exam, which is the CDI credential, they require them to have at least 2 years of experience. Require. Now it's just a recommendation, which is weird to me. What are they doing? What are they doing? You know, in comparison to the AAPC exams, You pay a fee. I mean, you have two attempts, but it is in a paper-based environment. And in that paper-based environment, you're able to go back to your questions. So why do we have the stringent process of answering questions? And for most people that responded to my LinkedIn post, it can increase test anxiety. I'm sure it does, because if you're given a question and you cannot answer right away, and you cannot go back and answer, you're gonna have to make some quick decisions. And those quick decisions in relationship to healthcare does not translate well. So that's all I gotta say. So hopefully this is something that I'm gonna follow. But if there's anything that is updated from this exam process in any of the exams, the RHIT, RHIA, CCS, CDIP, CHDA, and the privacy and security ones, let me know.
Setup. Ooh, that's nice. Anyways, today is Tuesday. I was looking at the video from yesterday at that park, and I look really hot. And also, I keep on asking myself, why am I always wearing black? So, I'm wearing a different color today. I don't know why they removed that out. Whose decision was that? Was it Ahima's decision? Was this a Pearson VUE decision? The real question that we have to ask ourselves is, what is the objective of all of this? Ahima is a big organization. They have the power to do whatever they want. However, it is up to them to listen to feedback. Who gave that suggestion anyways? Again, is it Ahima? Is it Pearson VUE? I'm totally confused, because it tightens up the requirements for the exam. The things that they don't really announce, you just hear it from people, is something that boggles my mind. Why am I hearing this in my group? Why couldn't this be a talk about exams, Ahima. Send out newsletters about new updates, not just the fact that you're doing a beta testing. What new features are being changed so that way your exam takers can be well prepared? Taking out flagging, okay, let the exam takers solve a problem, create a resolution for that. But if we don't know, if we're blindsided, how do we know how to adjust? I did some more digging or more questioning, because after what I had discussed about the flagging issue, the real question is, was there communication about it? And I went back to the RHIT and RHIA exam support group and did a search on flagging. When was the last time that someone said that they could flag a question? And in this group, it was in September. So I posted a question in the group asking, such and such, when was the last time that you were able to flag? Or when was the first time you were not able to flag? And the last time that somebody was able to flag was in November. And then the first time that examinees could not flag their questions was in March. So in my next question would be, did Ahima communicate this? If anything, they should at least communicate it to the members. Now, one source that I think should have had known about this should be HIT, HIM instructors. Now, I'm going to read this response from Awanda. And she says, I took the test in September 2020.
she could flag the questions. She retook the exam on April 30th and could not flag the questions. I reached out to my advisor and director of HIM, where I received my degree in HIM, and told them about the change, and they were appalled and knew nothing about the change. I reached out to Ahima to express my concern about non-flagging of questions and got some BS answer. What's going on here? I mean, with all of the communication platforms that Ahima has, even a podcast, they can't tell people about this. This is important. Really important. I know we're all about trying to, Ahima's trying to, catch up and talk about the industry. But what about your members?
With all the sitting and lack of walking and working out, my back has been somewhat hurting, not in pain, but I'm starting to feel it. So one thing that I do, aside from walking, is work on my back. So this here is this is how many pounds? 40-pound kettlebell. And I mean, you don't have to get 40 pounds. But what I do, if I'm not active, if it's busy, like around this time of year, I'll grab this kettlebell and I'll do what's called kettlebell swings. And this should work my back. It should work my back, my legs, right in the lower back, because I sit in this chair, man, for 8 to 10 hours a day. And so I put a rule now, I've done this before, that every time I get up to either use the bathroom, get coffee, whatever I need to do, I'll do 20 kettlebell swings. Now, I'm not going to put this on video. Maybe I might have to put this like on a Patreon or something like that. So if you want to see me do kettlebell swings, you won't see it here. Yesterday was crazy because I had to drive to the school 3 times. One for my kids' testing, pick them up, drop them off, pick them up, then come back here, then work, then drop my son off for football practice, come back, then pick him, then go back and pick him up one more time. Today I'm starting my day at 11 o'clock. So I do have some time, but I was scrolling through LinkedIn and saw an interesting post on elevated troponins and how there's going to be a upcoming code. I don't know what the code is for myocardial injury, which to me in its interpretation means elevated troponins. So when you think of elevated troponins, you automatically think a myocardial infarction. That's not the case. So anytime you see an elevated troponin with nothing else, you have to question, well, what's causing the elevation in troponin? What's causing that? What's the underlying cause? And in most cases, it's not going to be a myocardial infarction. You can have elevated troponins because of sepsis, trauma, inflammatory diseases, chronic kidney disease can elevate it, but not necessarily a cardiac issue. So in the grand scheme of things, you have to look at the whole entire record. If there's no symptoms, if there's no positive EKG, TEE, was cardiac involved? Those are things you got to look at before jumping the gun and assuming that, oh, let's query for
uh, a myocardial infarction, you're gonna be looked at weird. So the code for in myocardial injury will be a CC. That's interesting because there's a specific code for elevated troponins, I believe, troponemia. So I'll be watching this because it's interesting from both standpoints, from a CDI standpoint, but also from a denial standpoint. The specific code I don't know, but again, it's going to be a CC. So to finish, I guess, this portion of the blog or this portion of the topic in regards to the flagging situation on exams for Ahima. I gave you guys information in the previous entry. I just wanted to update and kind of finalize this last part of today's vlog. I went back to the group and someone told me that Ahima supposedly put a statement, but when I went to the Ahima website, went to the certification process, went to see if they had any updates, there was an update on March 1st of this year, but there was nothing mentioned in regards to this flagging process. So I even checked my emails in regards to, because I signed up for, I think when it used to be Engage, the platform that Ahima used to use was Engage, and one of the subgroups that I joined was certifications on everything, and there was no mention of it in February. No mention of it. You would think they would do something because apparently it had started in March. Nothing in the emails, nothing in any of the emails afterwards. And also keep in mind that in March, they changed their, I guess, social media platform, whatever they have on Ahima side, to Access. So I check Access. There's nothing there. So I'm really trying to find out, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they did let somebody know, but I could not find anything. Anyways, a colleague reached out to me on LinkedIn after I put a post up with the in regards to all of this, and she shared me this email that was sent today. So changes were made or noticed in March. Today is May 12th, and this email comes from Kahim. CAHIIM, which is the Commission on Accreditation for Health Informatics and Information Management Education. Is that right? Yeah, Kahim. Kahim accredits education institutions to make them certified or accredited to be able to provide education for the RHIT or the RHIA. And so let me read this email. It came today. I hope this email finds you. Kahim wanted to alert you to a change in the Ahima credentialing exams that was brought to our attention. So you're telling me Ahima did not communicate to Kahim about this. So they're just finding about this now. Maybe they saw my LinkedIn post. Anyways, to continue the email, questions can no longer be flagged and returned to any Ahima credentialing exam. Please alert any students preparing to take these exams that this flagging function is no longer available. I love the ending. Have a great rest of your day. Aside from lack of communication, I mean, really, emotional intelligence, people. That's how you end an email. Anyways, what a crazy week. I'll see you guys in the next video.
MedicalCodingGeek.com